Greetings, models! I am the Fallen Shogun, and welcome to the Who's an Indie, where strategy, tactics, and survival games punch you in the face with awesomeness. Yes, it's not a good intro, but it's an intro nonetheless. Today's impression is actually the Chivalry 2 closed beta, or boota, depending on how you say things. So, for those who don't know, Chivalry 1 came out a few years ago. And it basically banked upon the whole what is Mount and Blade. Combat is very much extremely skill based. Now you can't just swing wildly and win. As you can see, there's stuff going on. I'll be checking my scores considerably, but yeah, basically you have an overhead strike, a slash, and basically a jab. So you can switch your attacks out. There's also alternate strikes for those which change the direction of it. So you can slash either left or right. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on. You can also, like I say, get out of it. So you can make a guy block and waste his stamina. Blocking and striking takes stamina. Certain things can block certain things. There's 4 classes in the game. There's the heavily armed knight. There's the foot soldier, as you can see, which I'm using right now with the bill hook. There is the archer, which I'm playing a fair bit on, I'm okay with. And then there's another class, which I haven't been using that much. So there's 4 classes. In the closed beta, you can level up each character. Each character has 3 different variants. As you level up your character, you'll get unlocked the variants. Each variant of that character has different weaponry. So you can upgrade to other weaponry. Now, it's not really an upgrade. It's more of a side grade. Like, the knight starts off with a 2-handed sword, then can get a 2-handed axe, and so on. The axe, of course, is slower, but it's designed to tear more through armour. So, yeah, you get to pick which version you have. Like, I think there's a bill hook as well. I'm using, like, a glaive right now. There's actually a full-on actual polearm, and then there's just like a hammer. So there's different types of weaponry, different types of classes. The second knight is literally a sword and board, sword and shield. Whereas the first guy is the 2-handed, which is why there's so many of those buggers everywhere. It's also very bloodthirsty. So the big difference over this and Chivalry 1. Chivalry 1 I think was about 30 odd people at best. Chivalry 2 is up to 64 people, and the siege is significantly more awesome. Also, as you saw just then briefly, I got downed. You can get downed in the game. Not often. Sometimes it happens a lot, sometimes it does not. But you can get downed, and people have like 20 seconds to pick you up. Each class has its own special ability. The knight has a horn he can sound. The archer has a brazier. He puts on a bra and attacks people. So you can put on fiery arrows like this guy, can throw medkits, another one can put down a banner which heals. Now it's just only team deathmatch and objective based stuff. Right now, as you can see, we're pushing a ram, so that gives us a few different things. Because it's 64 players, you see the guys who seem to be wearing less armour, the guys with like these brownish shirts, they're AI. The AI is pretty bad. The AI, it helps, it fills out a role, but the AI is pretty bad. One of the big things is if you hold down the attack, you do a massive heavy strike. Which you can block, but it will stagger people. Obviously, the heavier the character, the less stagger they take. Now, if you get it right, there are actually different things. You won't see it too much in this footage, but you can block an attack, you can counter an attack, and you can parry and immediately counter an attack. What that means is, if you block at just the right time, you counter it and stagger the enemy. If you parry and block and strike at the same time, so literally block and strike at the same time, you counter and immediately strike the enemy and fully stagger him. So it's about blocking and striking at the same time to force the enemy to die. You can also kick the enemy. A lot of kicking happens in this game. Now you'll find a lot of the Mordhau community in this game, a lot of the Chivalry community in this game, and a huge amount of the old Mount and Blade community in this game. So the skill level goes from really bad to just, you know, swinging wildly, stabbing your own opponents in the back and all your teammates in the back, to literal gods of war who will destroy multiple people in battle at once and keep on going. There isn't too much middle ground. I remember that when it threw me. There is customization in the game. It is not accessible to the closed beta, but as I was playing the game, I was leveling up and unlocking items. There's also an in-game gold shop, so I'm assuming you can also buy more items too. In Chivalry 1, you just had the classes. Chivalry 2, it's just got a bit of Mordhau, a bit of Warband. You can buy customization. It's just not in the game. You can also throw any weapon. You can literally throw any weapon in the game. There's also lots of weaponry you can pick up. I found there was a well. I was throwing fish at people. I picked up a chicken. I threw it at someone. I found a broom. I attacked people with a broom. At one point, some guy's head got cut off. His friend picked it up and threw it at his attacker. There's a lot of things that can be picked up and thrown. Like bread. Beer. Awesome amounts of things. Barrels. Huge amounts of barrels get thrown in this game. But yeah, there's a lot of good in this game. A little bit of bad. As you can see, it keeps saying frame rate low. For those who are wondering, frame rate was just slightly dipping under 60. That was classified as frame rate low. I didn't really have any issues with it. A few times maybe my attack should have connected a bit more, but yeah, there wasn't any issues with frame rate. There were a couple of weird issues with hits not fully connecting, like sometimes the enemy got staggered and sometimes the enemy did not get staggered, but that was roughly about it. You know, there wasn't too much in between. So I'm going to quickly switch over to the next footage. Give me a second. Let me have a little bit of a pause. But yeah, there's plenty of exciting things going on within this game. And I'm really quite excited to see it actually come out in full release. Now, in this one, we're actually doing a full-on siege, as you can see. This is a full 64-man server. And one of the interesting things about it, of course, is the American server is a little bit laggy. There's a bit of an issue at the beginning, as you can see, it's still a little bit glitchy. I went up the ladder, and my character just stopped working. Just completely stopped working. Now, there's going to be a few glitches, it is closed beta, but I thought I'd just quickly show that while I'm at it. So yeah, in this one you have to literally go up the siege, then you have to burn down the tents and attack their main keep. It is extremely tough, and because it is 64 man, it feels significantly epic. Like majorly epic. Although right now you'll find a huge amount of well, not teamwork, to be honest. You don't get too much teamwork. You never do in these kinds of games. It builds up over time. So obviously, in one battle, we're attacking the enemy, and we had like 15 archers and just 3 regular footmen, which isn't the best composition for a full-on siege where you're the attacker. The enemy just went behind their shields. Also, if you press C, you yell. There was a lot of yelling. Very much Mount and Blade yelling. But yeah, it's a massively fun game. I really do recommend it a lot for anyone who loves Mordhau. Anyone who loves Mount and Blade. Now, I don't know the pricing, of course. This is a beta version. A lot of yelling. And obviously the parry system is going to be a little bit tough for those who don't know how well to do it. Now, one of the big things of it is you can block every thrown item in the game except for actual ranged weapons, as you see here. Yeah, so you're trying to kick me. One fun thing about this is if you get surrounded, the enemy will hit each other more than they will hit you. The amount of times the enemy have downed each other is hilarious. But yeah, there's meant to be a duel system coming in the future, you know, actual duels. Right now there's no duel servers, it was just a stress test more than anything. And I'm excited for that. Yeah, team deathmatch, regular sieges, maybe duels. But the actual objective stuff is massively epic. Massively epic. Fire is absolute nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Now what else can I currently say? I spent like 5-6 hours with it. Internet connection, that's because it's late at night. I was trying to get this footage at the end of the siege and the end of the servers. So I was trying to grab as much as I could as and when. But there is no dedicated servers as of this recording. It was entirely... Actually, I have no idea how it's done. Maybe there's a dedicated server it boots up. Maybe it picks a host. I actually have no idea. All I know is you need a certain number of players and a server exists. So you can't create one, they just exist. Oh dear. That was nasty. But yeah, it keeps track of how many people you've killed at the bottom, so you can actually see how well you've done. It keeps track of absolutely everything during the battle, although I don't think it keeps track of stats outside of it. Which, I'd love to see how well I've done on each weapon. Of course, you can kind of get a rough guess because each class and weapon levels up. So you can level up your class, level up your weapon for each of it. You get vague kind of stats. Although I'll be honest, the combat when it works properly is majorly satisfying. Again, like I say, there's a few minor issues. Sometimes the enemy stuns you and you don't stun them. Like you could kick someone during a heavy swing, it won't stagger them, they'll carry on doing a heavy swing. But sometimes when they kick you, you get staggered while doing the same thing. So there's a little bit of discrepancy. I'm not sure if that's just because of latency or not. But it is what it is. Now you won't get the best footage here because I'm not doing too well. You can see I'm switching my class so you can see what I've unlocked currently. As of this one, I've actually unlocked a lot more since this. So obviously I'm recording this by talking over some footage. So let's just quickly cut over to somewhere else. You don't want to see some archer stuff. Archer stuff, while I'm very good at it, wasn't exactly the most exciting. But archers obviously have the biggest issue because they are very much going to be attacked and targeted significantly. Trouble is, an archer is still going to wipe you out if you get it right. They do have quite good melee capabilities, which is, you know, terrifying for some people. It turns out I forgot, and I don't have any of the footage. It's all going to be archers. Absolute archers. There we go. So yeah, there's only two sides, and they do yell out all sorts of really stupid things. There's a little bit of interest. There's a lot of interesting comedy going on in the chats. They yell at each other. They swear. There's a lot of swearing. An awful lot of swearing. But it is the eternal world of red versus blue. You can pick up any item in existence, so if you're going to change your weapon, you can. Although you have to bear in mind each class has its own style. Some have more armour, some have more health, and each one has its own special ability. And item drop. As you can see here, I put a little spike trap down. So yeah, as an archer, I can fight with sword and board. I wouldn't recommend it because I don't really have the same level of armour and stuff as everyone else. And also holding block down is not recommended. That's why I lost my shield. I couldn't hold it because I ran out of stamina. There are siege weapons in the game. The most times I've ever died is to my own friendly catapult being operated by someone. Wouldn't kick him, they tried, but he kept on murdering us. Because that's what people do. They stab you in the back and then they blame you for it. But yeah, it's a damn good game. And let me quickly show you the end. That's me just watching a siege. I'll leave it here. Oh, and before I actually show the final bit, yeah. There's actually a lovely little thing. Like every time you start an objective, there's this little starting attack where both sides line up. Now, as you can see in the background, you can see people literally spawning into my left, to my right, and directly in front. Every player you see is a player or an AI. Oh. Yeah, so you get charged, you get thrown in, which is pretty awesome for actually how it starts in every single one. Of course, it just threw you straight in. Didn't do too well. Didn't do too well at all. But yeah, this is a game I highly recommend. If you like Mount and Blade, but only the combat. If you like Mordhau. If you like Chivalry. Definitely give it a try. I can't tell you the price right now, of course, because it doesn't exist. Anyway, I've been the Fallen Shogun. This has been Chivalry 2 Closed Beta. Ciao for now. Be awesome, be epic, be amazing, and I will be seeing you next time. Stay safe out there, because it's still pretty dangerous.